John Whidden with Whidden Gunworks, and we've been working on some exciting things in our rimfire test range. Our goal is to figure out what tools we have to help the long range and PRS rimfire competitors. Now we have 100 meters to test in our range, but we've all been curious about what goes on at 200 and 300 yards as we see more and more people shooting those longer distance events. What we've been able to do recently is to work out some math to forecast what accuracy a guy's going to get at 200 and 300 yards. Now, the thing is, you've got to take a couple of pieces of this into account. One is the raw accuracy that you get at 100 meters in this case, and two is the velocity spread. So the best ammunition needs to have good accuracy and low velocity spread. We put all this math to work, and we took a customer's gun real recently outside to the range to test it out. The forecast that our computer came up with was that we should see a group size of about 3.3 inches at 200 yards and about 6.6 inches at 300 yards. So there was nothing to do but to pick up the gun, go out to the range, and put it to the test.
So we went out to the range early this morning and we had favorable conditions. It was overcast with no wind, and we set up on a Caldwell rest with just a sandbag rear rest, no fixture, and just using a point of aim on the target, shot one 10-shot group at 200 yards and ended up shooting two 10-shot groups at 300 yards because we needed to adjust our scope just a little bit. Good morning, I'm Jeremy with the Whidden Gunworks test range facility. We're out here on the actual long range where we're shooting 200 and 300 yard targets to see if the data that we're getting for velocities and group sizes is translating over at further distances. It's been overcast out here this morning and little to no wind, so perfect shooting conditions for this test. And we've shot a 10-shot group at 200 yards, and we shot two 10-shot groups at 300 yards. The second group being a cold bore group. And we're going to walk down range here in a minute and take a look at those targets. And we're going to measure the group sizes and see if what we're forecasting with velocity and group data back on our indoor range is translating over to the 200 and 300 yard range out here. So come with me, we're going to head down range and talk about these groups.
All right, so we're here at 200 yards. We've got a nice looking group, and I'm going to take this thing off this holder and stretch a tape measure on it and see what it measures. It's going to be right around 4.5 inches or slightly less, maybe 4 3/8, somewhere in that kind of neighborhood. So quite respectable for down here. Let's go down to 300 yards and see what we get down there. We're here at 300 yards. Let's see what kind of results we got. Now we shot two groups on this target. Jeremy was aiming at the bolt right here, and our first group ended up a little bit high. We shot 10 shots, but one of them went over the shoulder right here, so you're only going to see 9 hits. Those 9 hits measured about 8.5 inches tall. We shot a second 10-shot group after Jeremy made a scope correction just to make sure that we got all 10 impacts on the steel. And this group includes a cold bore shot, and it measures about 6 5/8 of an inch or something like that. So let's go back to the range and see how well our actual measurements meshed up with what was forecast for the accuracy. And we'll turn back around and look at Jeremy at the 200-yard line and at the firing point, and I hate that we just missed a turkey walking across the range. It just went into the woods. All right, so we're back here in the test range and let's see how well the results meshed up. At 200 yards, our actual group size, it was hard to tell, 4 3/8 of an inch, maybe 4.5 inches. The forecast from our software was 3.3 inches. So a little larger, but you know, we're reasonably satisfied with how that worked out. At 300 yards, we had two groups. The first one, the larger one, measured 8.5 inches. The second group measured 6 5/8 inches. The forecast for that was 6.59 inches, so second group was right on it. The first group wasn't in left field. So long story short, we're pretty satisfied with our ability to predict some long range accuracy and importantly, predict what ammunition that we test is going to give you the best long range accuracy.